talking about the Letterhack and how they interviewed Sam Seder. Let's jump right into it. There's one part that I think is a good jumping off point. It gave me idea for a strategy. It's a long-term project, and I need your help with it because I only have so many eyeballs and earballs myself. I'll need you to lend me yours. What if we take advantage of the Fox Trump effect? I will clarify in a moment. Here's Sam Seder saying something interesting. That's a good jumping off point for talking about it.
Necessarily representative of anything. So it's not necessarily like about elections. It's about creating perceptions amongst the politicians, and they get those perceptions via journalists. Like there's a certain amount of.
He's talking about people on the left having a larger a perception of the left, the true left. I'm not trying to like rhino people. I'm just saying of leftist politics being more popular than they are. Leftist policy is incredibly popular, but when you look for somebody pursuing a bunch of leftist policies as their primary driving goal, as opposed to like a centrist who has said one or two things where the left is like, yeah, okay, that's cool. I really wish you would quit giving money to Israel to do an apartheid, but I'm glad that you are saying we should expand the Affordable Care Act or something like that. Nonetheless, let's let him keep going. He's talking about that perception and saying, now that I've made the beginning of it distant, saying that much of it has to do with the media certain people consume, such as decision makers.
Fiction that takes place not so much in what is being said, but in terms of like how representative this is. I mean, it's a very strange thing, right? Like why would John Roberts feel any political pressure?
Right.
Why? Why would any of these entities? Why would anybody feel any political pressure? It's not necessarily tangible. Nobody's coming to like kidnap John Roberts.
Right.
But like we're social beings, and we feel pressure from just like other people having opinions around us that are different than ours. We feel pressure. We don't want to be judged. We don't, John Roberts could do whatever he wants, and his material life is not going to be dramatically affected one way or another. Now, I don't know. John Roberts could be like going on great fishing trips with a billionaire, and that you could alienate that billionaire and he wouldn't go on those trips. But he's still going to go out to nice restaurants. He's still going to have people probably picking up his tab. Like, why would this guy feel any pressure? But he does, right? Like, and we all, why do like friends feel pressure? Like, like 3 or 4 of my friends are upset because they didn't want me to break up with that guy, and I'm feeling the pressure, or I'm not getting along with that person, or that, like, why do we feel that pressure? That's what is happening in our social media, in our politics world. We're creating pressure that is because we're social beings, and you don't necessarily need that many people to do it. So like, I don't know that we're implicating a lot of votes, but I think that like the left is implicating the perceptions of people who are either delivering perceptions to politicians or politicians who are receiving those perceptions.
I call it, and I try to avoid this, I call it awareness steroids, where somebody has got their finger on the pulse to the.
A great follow-up point. I should have let the Letterhack keep going, huh? Probably should have. Oh, well. He goes on to, that interview was one of the absolute best I've heard in a while. We may do something where we're not recording individual segments. We're just showing chunks of that interview. But I wanted to talk about the point Sam Seder was making there and the idea it gave me that I would like your help with. Why would John Roberts feel pressure? Let's go further than that. Why would some of these centrists feel pressure? We've started making inroads. We really have. Mehdi Hassan was on the Majority Report, trying to appeal to that audience, and lo and behold, he goes out and starts talking about how George W. Bush ought to have been arrested. We can affect people more if we're realistic about the numbers we have and the strategy that dictates. What I see when I look at the left, when I look at y'all, when I look at leftist mafia, when I look at the Majority Report, when I look at TYT 2 years ago, when I look at various leftist outlets, let's say, I see a group of people which are incredibly educated and incredibly dedicated. I see people willing to actually get off their butts and do stuff. This whole show was founded on the fact that the comments I saw in so many of those videos were, "This is all very interesting. What can I do?" I wanted to literally answer that question. There's some strategy that immediately comes to mind when I look at those facts on the table. What I would like you to do is, if you're willing, is keep your eyes open, keep your ears open. I don't know how one closes them, but anyway, keep an eye out for this. Watch when a politician mentions a channel that they watch. When a politician says, and I'm talking really anything to start, we might narrow this down and say like only internet content. Or only people with podcasts. We might do that later, but not now. Let's just start with this. Keep watching for content that you hear a politician say that they are interested in, that they're fans of. Because here's the plan. We're going to try to, as a group, infiltrate. If it's The View, we're going to do write-in campaigns, trying to get them to talk about issues we want the politicians to be conscious of. Now, I'm aware of the double-sided danger to that, or rather the danger from the other side, the double-sided nature which presents a danger. There we go. It's a double-edged sword there. Because, if it's something like The View, we might get them targeting these politicians with the wrong message. We're going to have to be awful tactical about it. But if, for example, it's something like the Norfolk Southern train crash, the next one that happens, making sure it is talked about and making sure aspects of it are talked about by the content which we know affects the politicians we need to affect, that's going to be huge. And that is a way to amplify our voices that we should be taking advantage of, I feel. I'm going to make a big list. Literally, just a spreadsheet of politicians and content they have mentioned watching. We are going to drop into the comments of these channels, of these shows. We are going to write letters and make phone calls to these folks. I will try to leverage my the nature of what I do to appear on them if possible and make the best case I can. But the idea is, if we do the work now, if we make a list of information which has been offered for public consumption, and there ain't nothing wrong with tracking it, I think we're going to have one hell of an advantage. So if you are feeling squirrely, and if you would like to help your old pal Jake out, when you hear of a politician on any side of the aisle, mentioning a piece of media that they consume, write me at whatyoucando at WYCDnetwork.com. That's the email. I will add it to the list. That's whatyoucando at WYCDnetwork.com. I'm going to make a gigantic list of media and who's watching it. More importantly, who in power is watching it. This will be fun.